Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding. My sound wasn't on that entire time? I think that's literally the second time. Listen. Oh my god. Listen. If that ever happens again, for the love of God, fucking tweet me. I have so many screens up. I didn't even have chat pulled up. I didn't even have chat pulled up. You gotta be fucking shitting me. How long have we been going? I've been going for literally 20 minutes. And I started streaming at minute 3:30. 17 minutes, I was just on silent. Listen, y'all. It's been that kind of day. So let's do something fun, shall we? Give me a sec. And we are live! You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience and have continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020. But enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FB Show, we are going to do a midway point Dynasty trade deadline special, breaking down my Dynasty team, where I'm at right now. And I did say that I'm here for you, so we are going to include some of you in this as well. And the point of this is, number one, I've been tilting for the past 2 weeks trying to figure out what the fuck to do with my Dynasty team. I'm in the middle right now, and the middle is the worst place that you want to be. So by doing all of this and explaining how I'm approaching the situation, hopefully it can help one or two of you as well. So let's go back in to where I guess I need to fucking start from the beginning, right? Holy shit. All right, let's do this. So I'm gonna jump between cams a little bit here. We got this set up, and then we got the screen as well. I have a lot of different things we need to talk about here. So this was good though. I just did like a 17-minute practice run essentially, but it's fine. Hang on. Now we're gonna do something else too. Let me pull up the chat on this side. There we go. All right, so what I have here, this is going to be a spreadsheet, and what it does is it basically breaks down what my roster looks like and where I'm at as a team. So right now, I'm 4-4, but you have to remember that the way that this Dynasty League is set up, record does not necessarily matter when it comes to making the playoffs. A win is worth 2 points. Finishing in the top 5 and scoring is worth 1. And so the top 6 teams in terms of playoff points make the playoffs. First, or division winners get byes, and then we just kind of move on from there. So I'm 4-4, but I'm actually the 4 seed when it comes to playoff points right now. I've kind of gone on a little bit of a slide, but we're still okay. That being said, I do consider myself to be a tier 3 team. We have one team that's 8-0, and it's legitimately the best team I've ever fucking seen. In short, I don't want to go through it again, but in short, Patrick Mahomes, Miles Sanders, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and then wide receivers are Kenny G, Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, Deontay Johnson, Laviska Shenault, Jalen Reagor, Odell, RIP, and there's one more. Who am I blanking? Lockett. I think that's it, but you kind of get the point there. And then tight end is Travis Kelce. Steelers defense, and it's like Noah Fant on the bench. It is wild. It is legitimately the best team that I have ever seen. So I'm the 4 seed right now. I'm a tier 3 team. We have that one team that's 8-0. On God, they might not lose a fucking game. They literally average 150 points a week. And then there are 2 teams that are 6-2, and their front 10 are just loaded top to bottom. And then you have me. And I'm on that. I'm securely in tier 3, and I'm maybe an inch below tier 2. all things considered, have a few things break the other way. I had 2 really bad weeks this year where I only put up 78 and 98 points, and that's not going to win you weeks in half-point formats. So what we can do is I want to go through what my team is. All right, Troy, so real quick, Dynasty in short, you basically carry the same team over year after year, and it's basically like you have one major draft with every player in it. Then after that, who you have on your team is who you have on your team. Every year there's a rookie draft. It usually consists of about 5 rounds. You can trade draft picks whenever you want. You can trade draft picks 2 years from now, right now in this moment. So what I want to do is I want to go through what my team looks like and just kind of give you the lay of the land. So our roster size is 25, which honestly is kind of on the lower end of Dynasty teams. From what I've gathered, a lot of Dynasty teams are anywhere between 30 and 35. I like 25 in this league. I'm the commissioner for it, and the reason why we do 25 is number one. It makes lineup decisions a little bit harder. Talent's a little bit more evenly distributed, despite the fact that we do have this juggernaut team. Everyone has the opportunity to have a great team, and then also it does minimize who is available on the waiver wire, but not enough to where the waiver wire is absolutely dead. I mean, for example, Travis Fulgham was taken off the waiver wire. Alan Lazard was just added to the waiver wire. There are always just players available there for a spot start if you need to, but nobody there is really going to win you a league per se. So there is some value. There's some value there every single week though. All right, so let's go through this real quick. And the way that I kind of have this set up is that I have my core roster per se, and then I have my five stash spots, and that's how this kind of breaks down. So my quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton. My running backs are Chris Carson, Joe Mixon, Kenyon Drake, Antonio Gibson, Myles Gaskin, Zach Moss, and Michael Hasty, who I just picked up. My wide receivers are Antonio Ridley, Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Henry Ruggs, Denzel Mims, Alshon, Preston Williams, Keelan Cole, Mecole Hardman. My tight ends are Mark Andrews and Jonnu Smith. Rams defense, Joey Sly, and my 5 stash players are LaMichael Piron, who I've started before this year, Keyshawn Vaughn, Rashad Penny, Van Jefferson, and Curtis Samuel. My draft picks for this upcoming draft, I have a 2nd-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, and a 5th-round pick. I traded my 4th-round pick to get Jonnu Smith in our draft this past season, and then I traded my 1st-round pick and Justin Jefferson for Henry Ruggs during our rookie draft. All right. And then we also have this spot here for possible trades, which we're going to get into in just a moment. So what I want to talk about, and what I was talking about before, is my big issue. I want to go back to, hang on. I want to make sure that I can have everything. All right. So my big issue is that I spent this offseason trying to put myself in a position to improve. I went 4-7 last year, was the 6th seed in the playoffs, barely got in, and I wanted to take that jump up. Now, being the 4 seed right now, obviously that is some level of improvement, but I expected my team to be in a better position than where it's currently at. I wanted to compete for a title this year, to be plain and simple. The idea of tanking fucking disgusts me, and that's something that I was talking about before I realized I was muted. I hate tanking. I think I'm simply put, I'm too competitive for it. But my issue is that I approach this too much like the Boston Celtics. Like, I consider myself to be the Danny Ainge of fantasy football. And what I mean by that is I'm too scared to trade away assets because I believe in the guys that I have, but I also need to find ways to make my team better. Danny Ainge of the Celtics is known for clinging on to his assets too long and being afraid to make that splash move, like bringing in an Anthony Davis or a Kawhi Leonard. So the way that I honestly view myself, in all honesty, is I'm like the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. And that means that I'm not good enough to win a title. I'm too good to bottom out. So I'm right in the middle, and there's not a whole lot I can do. So I have to pick a side. Am I going to sell the farm, or am I going to try and make a few swing for the fence plays in order to put myself in a position to be contending not only this year but for years to come as well? So I had a few thoughts, and the first one really came from the Lakers this year with Anthony Davis, and the Lakers win the NBA championship this season, and like it makes the Anthony Davis trade worth it. Like, you traded every other year of a first-round pick for, I think, the next 2 or 3 years. So no first-round pick this year, no first-round pick no first-round pick this year, no first-round pick in 23, no first-round pick in 25, I think. You trade Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Josh Hart for Anthony Davis. You win a title. Is it worth it? The answer is yes, right? But there is no way to guarantee a title in that way. It's one of those things that you find out after the fact that it was worth. And then there's also just something along that same line really intriguing about trading away draft capital, unproven commodities, for someone proven. One of the conversations I've been having recently is, do I trade a 2021 second and a 2022 first in order to get Terry McLaurin? Right now, there are two sides to this. Number one, McLaurin is great, has been despite bad quarterback play. So what happens when Washington actually gets a competent quarterback to lead their team? Terry McLaurin's going to go through the fucking roof because he's already going through the roof on a bad team as is right now. On the other side, though, do you just keep do you keep the draft capital? Because you would trade away 2 picks for Terry McLaurin, but it only needs 1 in order to draft the next Terry McLaurin. And if you're confident in your drafting abilities, like I am, like I feel like I proved so far this season, I had T. Higgins as my number 10 prospect overall. I loved Henry Ruggs, who has shown some flashes. Denzel Mims finally seeing the field and is balling out in his limited snaps. Who else? Michael Pirine came out of nowhere and has put together some kind of something at least, right? I had Pirine rated pretty highly. Keyshawn Vaughn, we'll wait and see. Zach Moss looked great last week. Antonio Gibson nailed that one too. So there's definitely a pattern here where I've seen already that I know how to evaluate talent when it comes to Dynasty. So I need to decide where I'm at right now. And that's been the thing that's given me fucking fits basically for the past 2 weeks. It's been tilt steady. I've been tilting like a motherfucker. It's been something. Like, in all honesty, I've gone back and forth. Like, do I sell Calvin Ridley? Do I trade AJ Brown? I literally put my entire core on the trade deadline, or on the trade block. Excuse me. Let's go back to this. I'm just gonna highlight. I put all 8 of these players on the trade block this week. I put Kenyon Drake on the trade block. I put T. Higgins on the trade block. It was literally just everybody and everything trying to figure out what kind of value I can get in return. One of the things that is currently being discussed right now, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it, is I'm not trying to trade away Calvin Ridley, but I think there's a way for me to trade Calvin Ridley and be a happy camper. So let's go through this right now. Let's go back to this. So let's go back to this right now. Let's go get, receive. What? I'm sorry. Trade, receive. All right. So I would trade away Calvin Ridley, and I would receive DJ Moore. Let's widen this out a bit. I would receive DJ Moore. I would receive Edmonds. Actually, we can just do last names. Edmonds, a 2021 second, and a 2021 fourth. This is currently a deal that is being discussed. The original deal that I offered was the following. It was DJ Moore, Jalen Reagor, and a 2021 second. There we go. So this was the deal that I originally offered, and the reason behind it was, simply put, DJ Moore for me is a top 10 wide receiver going forward. Calvin Ridley is a top 3 wide receiver, so I'd sacrifice some value there in order to gain another wide receiver who I'm increasingly becoming high on. And then also getting that second round draft pick just transforms this into this. It would be Calvin Ridley. Ridley would turn into DJ Moore. And then we would have Jalen Reagor. I don't know what's going on there. So then that's basically, like, this core would then turn into DJ Moore and AJ Brown, T. Higgins, Ruggs, Reagor, Mims, like, what does that do? Plus that second-round draft pick, which would be an early second-round pick. I think it's interesting. I really do. Because the other thing, like, so I would be trading. It's tough, right? Because I would be trading that. I would be trading Calvin to the Juggernaut team, and that's the thing that scares me. And one of the things I really want to consider doing is trading one of my stars to that team in order to get back an absurd deal, an absurd amount, in order to just try and cut down as much of that Juggernaut as I possibly can in the process. So then the counter offer. Let's pull that back up. It was Ridley for DJ Moore, Edmonds. I was going to counter with the 2021 first and a 2021 fourth. So here's one offer on the table. And I know I can likely get, so this would actually be a twofold deal. So having Kenyon Drake has been a bit of a struggle. You might know that if you have been the Kenyon Drake owner. So the issue here is I don't know what Arizona is going to do this offseason. And that's kind of the big thing with my team when you look at who is what. Chris Carson and Kenyon Drake. So two of my top 3 running backs are both in contract years. I don't think the Seahawks are going to bring back Chris Carson, which is why I've been holding Rashad Penny for eternity at this point. I don't know what Arizona does with Kenyon Drake. Additionally, Myles Gaskin, I think Gaskin's value is gone at the end of the year. I 100% believe that they're going to draft a running back in this draft. So Gaskin's value is gone almost entirely. Gaskin sprained his MCL. That came out today, and now he's going to be out 3 weeks, and my trade deadline's in 2. So Gaskin has no value to trade now at this point. Michael Pirine, the Jets are 100% going to draft a running back in this draft class, so he has no value. So you're just kind of looking at this. I go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, Hasty's value's gone too. So I go from 7, 8, 9 with Vaughn. So I go from 9 running backs down to 1, 2, 3. Vaughn maybe 4 if they don't bring back Leonard Fournette. I go from 9 to 4, and that is basically being if shit hits the fan. If shit hits the fan, Joe Mixon is my running back 1. Antonio Gibson is my running back 2. Zach Moss is my running back 3. Again, I do not have a first-round pick in this draft. So by getting Chase Edmonds, it does a few things for me. Well, first off, it likely guarantees that I'm going to have the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals in 2021. I put out a Twitter poll earlier tonight, and I basically said, who do you think is going to be the Cardinals starting running back next season? I have 292 votes. 292. 83% of people think it's going to be Chase Edmonds. That's honestly, I was not convinced of that until the poll numbers started coming in. I think they're going to bring back Kenyon Drake. So what this deal looks like to me, if Chase Edmonds is not the starting running back of the Arizona Cardinals next year, I lose this trade no matter what. I lose it no matter what because Edmonds' value in Dynasty is predicated upon him becoming the starter. If you know anything about the way I approach fantasy football, there is not a damn thing I hate more than running back by committees. It's why Zach Moss right now is currently unplayable. It's why I love Myles Gaskin. It's why I basically love Michael Pirine. Like, yes, Frank Gore's there. It's why Keyshawn Vaughn does not see the field. It's why Kenyon Drake's value has kind of tanked in a way, right? Outside of the injury, because he wasn't getting the target volume that he once was. Chris Carson, workhorse running back. Joe Mixon, workhorse running back. Antonio Gibson, timeshare. We've been talking about this all season long. So, if Chase Edmonds is not the starting running back in Arizona next year, I feel like I lose this deal no matter what. One of the things that's also being that I think can happen. Trade. Receive. This pick, 2021. If I get this, I know for a fact I can do this deal. Whoops, 2021 first. There we go. I can do a 2021 first for Allen Robinson. This is where I think things get interesting. I trust myself. Again, I trust myself to make the right draft selection. I do. But if I can get a proven commodity and my favorite wide receiver, Allen Robinson, for a first, which I talked to the Allen Robinson owner. He said he is looking for first-round draft picks this year. So then what this becomes is we're going to take this, Command copy, Command P, Robinson. That's what this looks like then. Where your front four at this point are Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, T. Higgins. That is your front fucking four. And like, that's cold. That is cold. Plus you would have Edmonds, and you would have that 4th round pick as well. That's what that would turn into. I think it's interesting. I really think that is interesting. One of the other things that is being discussed, hang on, is there's this offer on the table still too, but then there was an offer put in for Joe Mixon. So I would trade Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's 24, and one of the things that I love about Joe Mixon, and the reason why he's not a different color than yellow, is because Joe Mixon, and the reason why I specifically wanted him, one, I love the talent. Number two, he signed an extension. I know the role that Joe Mixon is going to have for the next 4 fucking years, and I love that for Dynasty. You know, obviously, we don't pay running backs around here, but if a running back gets paid, that's the running back that you fucking target, because you know what the guarantee is going to be. So, Joe Mixon was offered for David Johnson and a 2021 first-round draft pick. So just by looking at this, which is a number of things, right? Like, this would become Johnson. Edmonds would, well, let's do this without, Ridley. Let's just reset this. Whoops. Let's get rid of this. This would then be a first, a second, a third, and a fifth. So then going forward, we would have Chris Carson, David Johnson, right? I looked it up earlier. David Johnson has 1 more year left on his deal with the Texans. So it would be a 1-year rental. It's a $2.5 million dead cap hit, which honestly isn't a lot. So there is a room that they're going to get off of him this year. That they can probably cut him outright, and there's a chance that the Texans take a running back. They are on my list of teams that are likely to take a running back this draft. The thing that's interesting is they do not have a first-round pick. They do not have a second-round pick. They traded the first-round pick for Laremy Tunsil, and they traded the second-round pick. Was that second-round pick part of the DeAndre Hopkins deal, right? I think so. And they have a lot of other issues besides running back. So I think that they're going to keep David Johnson for next year. We can go back to no fill. what does this look like? I think the thing that's also really interesting is that I also have the Seattle backfield like locked up. Like no matter what happens next year, I feel pretty confident in saying that I will have the starting running back for the Seattle Seahawks. And in a way, I kind of hope that it's not Chris Carson, because what that means is Chris Carson goes to another team who I don't know. And like that's the thing is, everyone says don't pay a running back, but every running back is being paid, and the amount of running backs in free agency this year is absurd. So where does Chris Carson land? What's his role going to be? I'm not sure. Chris Carson is 26, I believe. David Johnson's 28. Joe Mixon's 24. Kenyon Drake is also 26. So part of me is considering, like, what if we just do both of these trades? And how does that shake out the lineup, right? What does this do? So looking at the squad right now, looking at, oops, no border. So looking at the squad right now, like that's the thing, my core, like at the end of the day, if shit hits the fan, my core is going to be Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Joe Mixon, Antonio Gibson, Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown. Flex T. Higgins. We start 2 flex in this league, so it would be T. Higgins, and it would be probably, honestly, Denzel Mims, in all honesty. And that is if shit hits the fan. If Chris Carson dies at the end of the year. If Kenyon Drake is no longer the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals at the end of the year, right? These are just the things that I'm trying to really play out. If everything falls to 0, what does my team look like? And the point that I really came to was, again, my team is too good to bottom out. When you have Lamar Jackson, when you have Mark Andrews, when you have Calvin Ridley, when you have Antonio Brown, or A.J. Brown, sorry. When you have these players and Joe Mixon, you're going to win games. Like, your core is just too fucking good. Which is why I'm really intrigued by the option of selling the draft picks, selling the picks that I have for another proven commodity, because this team is just too good. The other important detail is if you finish in the top 4, you get your money back. This is a monetary buy-in. It's $50 each year. And if that is the case, if you can just stay even, obviously the goal is to win the pot. But if you can break even, I think you're doing okay, right? You are at a net loss, right? Or I'm sorry, you are at net even. But I really want to play around here. I really want to play around with this. So here's the thing I also have to consider is 3 players at the minimum right now have to be dropped at the end of the year because I have 3 draft picks. So 3 players have to be dropped. Alshon Jeffrey. There goes one. Preston Williams will likely be the other. And honestly, probably Keelan Cole. And the reason why I would drop these players, I mean, JaMychal Hasty maybe as well, so we can just black that out. So we got 4 players dropped here. 1, I like Keelan Cole more in the present than I do long term going forward. And honestly, yeah, that's kind of it. JaMychal Hasty, not relevant after any of the San Francisco running backs come back. Preston Williams, I kind of like the flyer on, so what I'll do, I mean, I did trade Juju Smith-Schuster for him, but that's more of a wait and see. It's kind of a long thing, it's kind of the long con. Let's see what we have this year, and then kind of make that decision. And then Alshon Jeffrey, I think Jeffrey's dead after the end of the year. So these would be the 3 guys that I would cut. On the block would be Preston Williams, Michael Pirine, if the Jets draft a running back. Curtis Samuel is entirely dependent upon landing spot once he's a free agent this offseason, because I don't think that the Panthers bring him back. And then honestly, if Miami drafts a running back, like I said, Myles Gaskin is probably dead as hell too. So just going over this, like, what can we do here? I want to try something. So let's. So what happened? Oh, sorry. These should be no fill. Okay. So what happens if I do both of these deals? Because that's kind of the thing that I really want to consider. More for Brown. You're then going to get David Johnson. Oops, let's just go Johnson, Drake, Edmonds, first. So what does this, what does this do though? Right, like that's the question, is what does this do? Essentially what it does is, oh, this might not be a bad strategy. So you take the hit at running back, unfortunately, like losing Joe Mixon, who's 24, compared to David Johnson, who has 1 year left on his deal with the Texans and is 28. I mean, I love David Johnson in terms of floor play, but there's no future for him. You bring on Edmonds. So what this does is it guarantees that you will have the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals. You gain the other wide receiver. You don't gain though. That's. I think the big storyline here is you get Chase Edmonds and then you get 2 first-round picks. But the issue is that you're giving up. You're giving up Calvin Ridley. You're supplementing that with DJ Moore. So you're taking the hit at wide receiver for 2 first-round picks. You can use a first-round pick to get Allen Robinson. So let's delete that. And no fill. So then this team going forward, draft a running back in the first round, probably draft a running back in the second. One of the things that I did, I offered I offered a tier 2 team Chris Carson for Zeke, because the person who owns Zeke right now is currently gunning for it. Like, they want to win this year. And blatantly, with the way that Dallas is playing recently, there's no way in hell he's going to win with Zeke on his team. So, and he has Russell Wilson, so that gives him the Wilson and Carson stack, which means he is responsible for every single one of the Seahawks touchdowns this year. If I got Zeke, let's fiddle around here. Trade, receive, Carson for Zeke. So you would have Zeke like I think that's interesting. I really do. I think trading Chris Carson makes a lot of sense here. If you trade Chris Carson for Zeke, you trade Carson for Zeke, you then have the ability to trade Mixon for Johnson. You get Chase Edmonds. You get DJ Moore and Allen Robinson to replace Calvin Ridley. You still have that first round pick. You have a second. You have a third. And so basically the core then becomes, let's just do core. This is your starting lineup. Lamar, Zeke, let's just say Lamar, Zeke, Edmonds, Moore. That's the thing. You literally, God, this makes so much sense. This makes so much fucking sense. Moore, Brown, 2 flex. So Robinson and Gibson, Andrews. And then you still have your draft picks. Like this is your starting. Like this is your starters. This right here. Jackson, Zeke, Edmonds as your 2, even DJ, right? Like DJ. I'll just put Johnson. Johnson, Moore, Brown, Robinson, Gibson. Like having those fucking front 3 is insane. So like the other thing to consider here too is just personally how much I value depth. In a Dynasty league, specifically, I value, and because of the fact that we start 2 flex, depth matters a lot more. It's a slight change, but it's a really important one. I mean, my God, that's such a fucking this is a powerhouse. Like your core 4 by position is Lamar, Zeke, honestly AJ Brown, and Mark Andrews. That is your core 4. Holy fuck. Let's fiddle around here. Mixon. Ridley. You wouldn't have Mixon, Ridley, and then Higgins. Interesting. Very interesting. Huh. Alright. Let's clear this. Clear this, let's reset. Ridley. Boom. Carson. Mixon. Alright. Let's go Lamar, Mixon, Gibson. Let's go Carson. That's fine. Alright. So, where are we at? One of the big things here that I'm just thinking about is, I don't know, I just keep thinking, what happens if shit hits the fan? And what I mean by that, again, is what happens if Kenyon Drake goes, either Arizona doesn't re-sign him, or whatever happens next year, whatever happens to him next season, his usage isn't the same. Because even right now, he's struggling with the big workload that he has, so what happens if he has to take that step back? Like, Kenyon Drake is dead at sin, if that's the case. Chris Carson, 26 contract year. I don't think Seattle re-signs him. That's why we keep Rashad Penny. Gaskin also dead. Like, just for sake, I want to... Whoops, Command Z. What happens? Like, these would be my 5 then. If everything goes bad, my 5 running backs are Joe Mixon, Antonio Gibson. To me, that's a great 1-2. Zach Moss, who theoretically should improve. Keyshawn Vaughn should see the field. And Rashad Penny, who, if Carson is gone, Penny should be the Seahawks starting running back. So I would order these. Mixon, Gibson, Penny, Moss, Vaughn. So that's 5. Second round pick, you use to draft a running back. Third round pick, you draft a wide receiver. Fifth round pick, best player available. Calvin Ridley, top 5 wide receiver. AJ Brown, top 5 wide receiver. Higgins, top 20 wide receiver. Ruggs, who knows? Mims, who knows? Everybody else start throw. Andrews top 5 tight end. Interesting stuff. I'm very interested in this. Like, I need to figure out if I can get Zeke. Because if I can, what are these offers that I have? I have like 4 different trade offers out. Yeah, we can cancel this one. Withdraw that. When did that happen? 2022 first for DJ Dallas. No, decline that. I don't know when that offer was made even. 1 day ago. Yeah. Just trying to go through this is impossible. Like, am I really going to trade Calvin Ridley in a Dynasty League? Going through this, I mean, we got 1, 2, Mixon, Ridley, Brown. Like, this core is just too goddamn good. Oh, I would also get that 4th round. I would also get that 4th round pick in that deal too. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, it'd be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, one, one. Wait, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you trade 3, 4, 5 to move up into the second? So then you would have 1, 1, 2, 2. Which would essentially be the exact same spot that I was in this year. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Because then what you would do, you'd have to drop less players. One of the other things that I've been really focusing in on is the idea of punting every other rookie draft. And the reason why is because you have to make decisions on a rookie 1 year into their contract, 1 year into their NFL career. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Which is kind of why if we eliminate these 3 and we just throw AB, 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 P-Run. One of the things that I have figured out is how to maximize, quote unquote, your dynasty roster size of 25. Very simply put, you have 2 quarterbacks, so that's 2. You have 6 running backs, 6 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 defenses, 2 kickers, and what that does, this all equals 20, and then you have 5 players to stash. 5 players to stash for a year. They're likely not even going to sniff your lineup, and with 5 draft picks, every year, you can theoretically supplement every single one of your draft picks into the stash, move all of your stash into your running back, wide receiver, whatever core. And even if you wanted to, you could get rid of another defense and another kicker, kind of like how I did this year. And then you can stash 2 more players. So that's going to give your total up to 7. So let's pull this back. We had Cole, Preston, and Hardman. X, and that's where we were at. We can fill this back into Carson, Drake, Gaskin. And I have Hasty too. There we go. I've had some people talk I've had some people, excuse me, I've had some people make inquiries on Mark Andrews and Jonnu Smith, but I don't know if I can go for it, in all honesty. Just Mark, like having, I've talked about this before, having the Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson stack is so much fun. Oh my god, it's so much fun. Andrews has proven to be a bit more touchdown dependent than I would like, but yo, like when he's literally a double-digit touchdown machine every single year. Every single year. And with Lamar not playing great, like that matters a lot more. Oh, I just thought of something. I just had an idea. Yes, okay. So, a player who is currently on the waiver wire right now is Allen Lazard. Fantasy Pros 2020 scoring leaders. Let's go wide receiver. Oops. Half point formats. And let's pull up Sleeper real quick. Available. What weeks was this? Yes, the first 3 weeks of the season. That's what it was, okay. Weeks 1 through 3. Go. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, Allen Lazard was wide receiver 7 in half point formats. It was Calvin, Lockett, Hopkins, DK, Tyreek, Diggs, Lazard. How old is Allen Lazard? Allen Lazard's a second-year player. All right, this is year 3 for Allen Lazard. Year 3 for him. Let's play this game. So I dropped Alshon Jeffrey already, theoretically, for Allen Lazard. So like that first off, major upgrade there. You secure another position, which then means you would go with Moore and Robinson. So you'd have Moore, Brown, Higgins, Lazard, Ruggs, Mims. Like that's fucking fire. That's such a great core. That is such a great core. Oh, I just thought of something. Do you trade? All right. Let's say I acquire a first round pick. Do you trade Carson and the 2021 first for A-Rob and an earlier 2021 first? The answer is always yes. Like this is a deal that I really like. Because then this 2021 first then becomes Harris or NTNA. Interesting. Interesting thoughts here. So what if we did Moore, Brown, Higgins? Like, even like Paris Campbell was dropped. Like, if I get Paris, like, that's the thing. The wide receivers that I really like, specifically in this, like, Dynasty Brown, I in love with him. In love with him. I think it's so interesting. So he'll be like a second round. He'll be my second round pick essentially. But is it? I'm so dead. I have no idea what to do. Carson, Mixon, Drake, Gibson, Gaskin, Moss. I think the thing that is so frustrating was I spent all year trying to acquire more running back depth, only to lose it at the end of the year. I mean, I spent all season long trying to build this thing up. Traded Aaron Jones specifically for Joe Mixon and Kenyon Drake because I lost because Kerryon Johnson just died essentially and is not a good NFL player. So I rebuilt my core three. Gibson was a hit. Moss, who knows? Gaskin, waiver wire wonder. P-Ride traded for. Vaughn was a draft pick. Penny's been a hold. Hasty, just a waiver wire ad. But who loses value? Like, I just don't. You know, I thought this stream would help me, and it's not. I feel like I'm in the exact same place where I started. But I do think this becomes really interesting if we do make that DJ Moore trade. You trade Moore for Brown. Moore, Brown. This becomes Robinson. So then your core becomes Robinson, Moore, Brown, Higgins, Ruggs, Mims, Lazard. Like, that's fucking fire. That's so good. You don't have that first, but you get a fourth. That'd be a mid-fourth, too. Fourth and a fifth. And do you trade 3, 4, 5 for a first? That's intriguing. Let me... I really like the idea of Zeke, dude. If I can add Zeke to this team, I'd feel so much better about my life. If I could add Zeke to this team, I'd probably trade Calvin. And the reason why is just because I can make up the loss of Calvin, it looks like, pretty easily. And I think that's kind of like what this comes down to. Like, can you replace the value of Calvin Ridley? Because if you can replace the value of Calvin Ridley while adding depth, while adding a Chase Edmonds to the team. Again, let's just go with Chase Edmonds. Which means that you guarantee yourself a starting running back in some capacity of the Arizona Cardinals with Kenyon Drake. Do you do it? And I feel like you do it. Like, kind of like what this comes down to at the end of the day. And let's pull back up Fantasy Pros and just kind of look at this. So we got through 8 weeks. We're in half-point formats. We got wide receiver 1 and PPG. Wide receiver, let's just say 15. And no, we'll go. Who do I want to go with? Who's gonna get bet? Yeah, let's go wide receiver 15. PPG. I want to stretch this to 20 because that's gonna be a better depiction, I think, of where we're at. So wide receiver 1 is averaging 15. Ridley. 15.8 points per game. Wide receiver 20 is Chase Claypool, who's averaging 13 points per game. Whoops. Claypool, 13.0 points per game. Like, and this really is. Wait, that wasn't even right. God damn it. No. I mean, I guess we can do that, right? So I don't know. I actually now don't know what I need to evaluate this as. Do I go points per game, or because like Devontae Adams has the higher points per game, but he hasn't played. Let's go average. That's fine. It wouldn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. All right. Okay, so let's pull this back up. So we got wide receiver 1, Calvin Ridley, right now. And then we can look at 13. Yeah, that's 13 flat. Total. What is that? 30. No. 28. It's 28.8 there. Or you can have wide receiver 11. Let's space this out. Wide receiver. We'll go wide receiver 10. Like Allen Robinson is like wide receiver 10. I'm here for it, whatever. Wide receiver 10 points per game. And wide receiver 12 points per game. Like, I think in terms of dynasty outlook, like Allen Robinson as wide receiver 1, DJ Moore's right on the fringe. We'll go wide receiver 13. He's a fringe guy. PPG. So Allen Robinson right now. 13.3. More is 12.1. Which then, this is what the fear was. 25.4. Like, it literally is just one of those things where the haul, like, first off, that's 3 points per game. So you got a 3-point drop off. God damn, this is a nightmare. So it's 3 points per game dip. But you get that additional running back, which, like, the reason why this deal can't happen is because it doesn't make sense to do. Because this net score, you're -3. So let's just play this out this way, right? Ridley, Claypool, and we'll just go Edmonds, whatever. Let's do it. Let's pull up Edmonds. Running backs. Chase Edmonds is averaging 10 points per game. So 10, 13, 15.8 equals 38.8. Comparatively, Moore, Robinson, Edmonds, 10, 13.3, 12.1 equals 35.4. And this is where the issues lie. Because, like, when you have, what ends up happening is when you have a top 5 wide receiver, it almost does not matter who you put in as your number 2. Because what that number 1 guy does covers so much ground. Like, Moore and Robinson are closer in rank than Ridley and Claypool. But when Ridley is at the top and Claypool is still suitable, it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. That duo is going to win. Like, it's a 3-point difference. So then the question becomes, what does that 4th round pick do? What does that 4th round pick turn into? And can you hit on a 4th round draft pick? I mean, well, shit, let's play this game too. We can clear this out. Options, no fill. Alright, ceiling. Oh, sorry. Let's go player. Ceiling. Right now. Calvin Ridley. Ridley is legitimately wide receiver 1. AJ Brown. Top 3 wide receiver. AJ Brown also like legitimate ceiling is, well, just for simplicity's sake, top 3 wide receiver. T Higgins. T Higgins is wide receiver 1. I feel like that's so obvious. Wide receiver 1. Let's pull this out. So now that we have that right, like what? I honestly think this whole conversation, like, this conversation is dead if I get Allen Lazard. It's that simple to me. This conversation is dead if I get Allen Lazard. Because the entire point of trying to revamp my core, like the entire point, I call it shuffling the deck. I want to make a whole video about this. The entire point of trying to trade Calvin Ridley is to get multiple assets back in return that then are going to equate to something going forward. You're basically taking one piece, doing a little flippy flip, and turning that into a collection of things in order to strengthen the position overall. So in a way, it literally is more is more instead of less is more. Just the amount of, like, the more startable pieces that you have. It's basically what this concept is. Like, would you rather have the wide receiver 1 and then the wide receiver 22, or would you rather have the wide receiver 10 and the wide receiver 13? And it like, that's the thing this thing literally comes down to. It literally comes down to can you hit that 4th round draft pick? For funsies, let's go back to Sleeper real quick. Let's go back to Sleeper. I don't know if I can pull it up here. I don't think I can. Settings. Previous leagues. Oh, I can. Draft field. There we go. Draft results. I don't know what this is going to look like, so I apologize. Okay. Can I zoom out of this? There we go. Let's go back to 100. Whoa. Command 0. Okay, so here's what... Can I pull this up here? That doesn't do anything. God damn it. Okay, so I'm just going to read off the players taken in the 4th round. In the 4th round, Duke Johnson, Chase Claypool, Herbert, Irv Smith, Chase Edmonds, Big Ben, Damian Harris, Ian Thomas, Browns defense, Corey Davis. That's interesting. In the 5th round, Jonnu Smith, Jordan Love, Josh Kelly, Harrison Bryant, Bucks defense, Hamler, P. Ryan, Brian Hill, Isabella, Hunter Renfrow. Interesting. 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 So you got to nail one of those draft picks. You need to nail one of them. Okay, let's get out of this. Oops. Let's do this. A-Rob is a wide receiver. wide receiver 1. I don't think Allen Robinson doesn't have top 5 wide receiver potential. I mean, he might, but he's closer to 10. Allen Robinson is closer to 10 than 5. DJ Moore. DJ Moore's a wide receiver 1. Again, closer to 10 than 5. But like, I don't know how you can trade this core. That's the big thing. I don't know how you can possibly trade this wide receiver core. And maybe, well, even then, like, okay, let's pull. Okay, let's do this again. I want to try something. Options. No fill. If we do Ridley, Brown, 20. Let's shift this to 20. Total. Calvin Ridley and AJ Brown are both averaging 15 points per game. 20 was 13 flat. Compared to Brown, Moore, A-Rob, which was 15.8. A-Rob is 13.3. And DJ Moore is 12.1, right? That's correct, I think. And then, right, total. So that's 31.6. 31, so what is that? That's 44.6. And then Allen Robinson, like, what's this though? Like, that's the thing, like, even just looking at this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And there's too many decimals here that I can't do math in my head. Let's go 15.8 plus 13.3 plus 12.1. It's 41. Like, it's 41.6. Yeah. So it literally comes down to, can you hit? Like, if that's the case, it comes down to, can you hit? Can you hit that 4th round draft pick? That's what this comes down to. Wow. I'm gonna shoot a text. I want to pull something up. I want to pull back up those draft results. League settings, view results. So there are Alright, so there are 20 picks here in rounds 4 and 5. 20 picks. Of those picks, we have Claypool hit, Herbert hit, Edmonds theoretically hit, right? Like, we can count that. Like, Chase Edmonds is a startable running back in the NFL. You can, on your fantasy team every single week, he's a hit. So 1, 2, 3. Big Ben, technically, like, are we gonna go there? We'll say 4. Damian Harris is 5. Corey Davis, people don't want to talk about it. Corey Davis has balled out this year, so that's 6. Jonnu Smith makes 7. Josh Kelly is there, kind of, right? So that's 8. Michael P. Ryan is very situational. We can say that's 9. And then KJ Hamler is a fringe undecided TBH. So you essentially have a coin flip chance in a way. You have a coin flip chance to hit that 4th round pick. And given what I know, I feel like I could do it. I feel like I could do it. I hit Van Jefferson. I hit Michael Pirine. I nailed that one. Hit Zach Moss. Ruggs, fine, count it. Higgins, count it. Mims, yep. Like, I'm confident I can do this shit again. Interesting. The only way that this works is if the Allen Robinson deal goes through. Like, I would have to have a backdoor deal in place. I would have to have a backdoor deal in place for Allen Robinson and get that. Like that, I think that, like that's the other thing to consider here too. My hair is a mess in the back. The other thing to consider here too is Allen Robinson's 27, going to be 28. When does Allen Robinson start to fall off? Does Allen Robinson get a contract extension, right? Like, so maybe we don't trade for Allen Robinson. Like, do we trade for Terry? Because that's interesting. Trading for McLaurin's interesting in that way. Give a first round pick this year and just say, like, that's it. Like, if you want to get off McLaurin, here's a first round pick this year. Here's a first round pick in a draft loaded with wide receivers nonetheless too, right? So we can do, man. Oh, that's so interesting. You trade Moore, Brown, A-Rob. Like that's your core 3. I literally think it does come down to if I get Allen Lazard or not. And I don't think I'm going to. Let's see if there's anything popping up in chat right now. I can't believe I still can't believe like that's the second time that my mic has been muted during stream. All right. There's got to be something that I'm missing here, right? Like I'm missing something. Ridley, Brown. Like that's the thing. Like how utterly terrifying. How utterly terrifying is a Calvin Ridley, AJ Brown core for the next 5 years? Like that's fucking terrifying. Nail the 4th round pick. Ridley, Brown, Moore, A-Rob. So, like, do we like, dude? What's Aaron Rodgers' contract like? Can I pull that up, please? Aaron Rodgers. If this wants to load, of course. So they have a potential out in 2022. Aaron Rodgers is 36. It's a $17 million dead cap hit. So there's no way. Like, in 2023, they have a $2 million dead cap hit. My God. Right, so like that, like I think that really becomes a question. Like, how good is Allen Lazard going to be? Because like that's the thing. I've been begging for a wide receiver all year. I think you try and make a move here to go get. I think you make a move to go get Lazard. I really do. I think that's interesting. I think trying to make a move to go get Lazard, just ensure the fact that you're going to get him, is really interesting. Ridley. Because then you move forward with the future of Ridley, Brown, Lazard, Higgins. Like, that's your core four. Ruggs if he hits. Mims if he hits. Hardman is just a typical spot play if you have to. Van Jefferson, Curtis Samuel dependent upon landing spot. Like, there are a lot of things here at play. Whoa, shit. My God. Alright, my head hurts. My head hurts. I've been going for an hour and a half now at this point, just talking myself in circles around this goddamn game that I love so much. I'm gonna get out of here. We have. I can't believe they're playing tomorrow. It drives me. It doesn't drive me insane. I just can't believe it. I'm stunned that we get a Thursday night football game tomorrow between the 49ers and the Packers. Be sure to follow me on Twitter because I'm gonna tweet out who you should start, who you should sit. Honestly, like probably don't start anybody from this game, right? I mean, there's so many different injuries, so many different players out because of COVID. This game is going to be an absolute shit show. Start Jermichael Hasty if you got him. He might be the only safe start of the week, him and Devontae Adams. So if you have those two guys, fire them up in your lineup. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I know this was a bit of a different video. Really just wanted to figure out where I was at in terms of Dynasty, try and figure some things out, talk through a few things going on throughout my league. Hopefully you learned something from this, of the way that I approach things like this. Remember, spreadsheets are your best friend. You can erase, you can modify, you can think out and plan out different strategies that way. It's something that I use all the time. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe down below. Try to do this fantasy thing quite a bit around here. Also follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. And remember, I will see you next time. We got week 9, baby. It's winning time. Like this. Only we're going to repeat again. All right, I'm out. Later.